It becomes less about trying to take pleasure for yourself, trying to take pleasure from your partner, trying to use your partner's body to basically masturbate yourself. Hey guys, I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. Make sure you grab my free ejaculation control guide through the video description below. So I want to tell you about Kareza. Kareza is a sexual practice that is a very different approach to sexual connection than most people in this world are doing. You know, many of us have this porn-conditioned viewpoint of sex in that, as men especially, we tend to just thrust mindlessly into our partners, you know, maximum stimulation, just rushing into this ejaculatory orgasm, and then it's over. The problem with this is that you overstimulate yourself. You actually shut down your nerves and you don't even feel as much pleasure as you could, you know, if you took a little bit of a different approach. And this ejaculatory orgasm for men is very limiting. It burns up your neurotransmitters, it burns up your dopamine, the body releases prolactin, so you feel exhausted, you feel brain fog after ejaculating. So when you're living life in this pattern, every day you're ejaculating, every day you're burning up the chemicals in your body, you're burning up your vitality, your jing, which is your vital essence. Then you're on a pathway of self-destruction. You're going to be functioning at a very low state as your baseline. So you're much more likely to rely on drugs, to masturbate to porn, and things like this to seek an outlet for feeling low in your life. You know, this is one of the paradoxes of traditional sex where a man ejaculates at the end, is that the more a man has ejaculatory sex, which on average lasts a few minutes, right? A few minutes of sex, frantically thrusting, and then you ejaculate and it's over. This leaves a man feeling very unfulfilled. It often leaves his partner feeling unfulfilled as well. And so the man wants more and more sex, but it just can't fulfill him. And he constantly is depleting his energy by releasing his semen every time he has sex. Again, this starts to deplete him and cause him to age. It also can cause problems in relationships. You know, when you're constantly ejecting your life force, you start to lose that sexual charge. And all of a sudden, you and your partner don't feel attracted to each other anymore. So shifting to non-ejaculatory sex is a major remedy for this, for many reasons. And specifically, this approach of non-ejaculatory sex, Kareza, can really help to bring a different dynamic to your sexual experience and be a bit refreshing in a lot of ways, help you to have a much deeper experience, both with yourself and with your partner. So there's many different interpretations of what Kareza is, but I'm going to give you my own interpretation, my own experience with this practice. So basically, Kareza is approaching sex not in a goal-oriented way. You know, again, we typically get into this performance-driven, I have to thrust into my partner frantically trying to mimic porn movies, right? But again, it's just really not that pleasurable. With Kareza, the intention is to simply relax, connect with your partner, connect with your breath. The intention is not to have an orgasm, at least not have the traditional ejaculatory orgasm. You will actually likely experience some very deep, more subtle valley orgasms. You know, you start to ride this plateau of orgasm during this type of experience. So again, it's getting out of this goal-based, performance-based approach to sex and getting into a more expansive, holistic, multi-dimensional experience of sex. So again, Kareza involves taking your time, being very, very slow, changing the way that you approach sexual stimulation. Instead of, you know, getting right into frantic thrusting, you slow down, touch your partner very, very slowly, very gently. And as your own body's being touched, as you're being stimulated, relax, focus on your breathing, feel the stimulation that you're feeling, feel the pleasure, and see how much you can relax into it. Observe what you're feeling. And it's that observation, having complete presence in the moment with the feelings that are rising, that starts to deepen the experience. Again, most guys during sex, most people during sex, they're in the future. They're thinking, how can I improve this? How can I get into an orgasm? How can I rush more and more into this orgasm? So they're in the future, they're projecting, they're not connecting with what is happening right now. So again, this is one of the goals of Kareza, is focus on what is happening now. Just observe what is. Don't think about what it could be, just feel what you are feeling. And again, relax, breathe deeply and relax. So you can either use direct intercourse to have Kareza, or in the beginning it may be beneficial to simply take turns, you and your partner, stimulating each other. Or if you don't have a partner, stimulating yourself. So you can stimulate each other orally or manually, whatever. But the key here is, you know, don't get into this excessive stimulation. Excessive stimulation, it overstimulates the nerves and you end up feeling a bit numb from it. So really, really gentle stimulation. And the receiver focuses on just relaxing, feeling what they're feeling, breathing deeply. Keep this deep belly breath going during sex. You'll notice as a man, when your arousal is becoming heightened, when you're approaching an ejaculatory orgasm, the breath starts to lock, it starts to constrict. You start to breathe from the chest, very shallow breaths. So one of the keys to overriding this ejaculatory response is deep belly breathing, relaxing into that breath as well. That alone is going to completely change your dynamic of sexual experience. And so again, you can approach intercourse with this as well, but again, don't just start thrusting madly into your partner. Go very, very slow. Feel every small, subtle movement. Touch your partner's body as you're doing that. Keep breathing, keep your awareness on relaxing. Noticing, as a man especially, there's a tendency to tense up the pelvic floor as you're experiencing sexual pleasure. Keep it relaxed. Start to release these blockages of hypertension in the pelvic floor. That's going to allow you to feel so much more pleasure and get into these orgasmic states without ejaculating. So you avoid repetitive stimulation. We often get into these habits of very repetitive stimulation, overstimulating ourselves. So switch it up. Be very gentle, be very mindful, and just relax and let it be fluid, a fluid connection. You're really getting into a meditation with yourself and with your partner. This leads to a very deep connection because, again, you're not getting into that performance-based, oh, I have to perform in a certain way to please my partner. You're changing that. You simply focus on giving your partner this gentle stimulation and receiving from them as well. So it becomes more of an exchange, and you both start to get into this deep altered state that leads to these subtle full body orgasms. This is the valley orgasm. The peak orgasm is this sharp climb up in pleasure. You hit the peak, you have that ejaculatory orgasm, and then your pleasure drops down. It's done, it's over. You've burned up your chemicals, you burned up your vital energy, you have to recover. But with the valley orgasm, you're hovering in this state of full body orgasm. It's subtle, it's different, but you're just in this state of pleasure. Your breath is deeper. Everything feels heightened. It becomes more about how can you stay in that zone, sustaining that full body state of orgasm instead of rushing over to the edge and releasing. It's often that releasing which is most gratifying to men because you feel tired, you feel exhausted, you no longer have desire to continue having sex. So there's almost a sense of satisfaction in that. But when you're able to rewire that pattern, no longer relying on that gratification of releasing your vital energy and feeling exhausted, when you can start to hold this sexual charge by building it up, relaxing, feeling it moving through your body, feeling content with that experience, it completely changes your dynamic of sex. You start to become less obsessive. It becomes less about trying to take pleasure for yourself, trying to take pleasure from your partner, trying to use your partner's body to basically masturbate yourself. It becomes more of an exchange and a deepening experience that you're sharing with your partner. This can be very, very healing and very transformative. This is a great practice for people who are older. If you don't quite have the energy, the vitality, the libido that you had when you were younger, you can still have full sexual experience with this practice because it doesn't even necessarily require having an erection. You know what I mean? You can experience sexual pleasure without having an erection if you're older and having these issues. But this is also very great for couples who feel like they've sort of dried up sexually in the bedroom. They don't quite have that spark anymore. This could be something new, a new dynamic of sexual connection that can really rekindle the fire, because as I said, something that causes issues is the man constantly ejaculating out his energy and he starts to dry up. He loses that sexual charge, that polarity is lost in the relationship. So this can help you really build it back up, having this non-ejaculatory, non-goal oriented experience of sex. So again, you can try this by yourself, try it with your partner. If you're doing it by yourself, then you just touch yourself very, very slowly, very gently. As a man, you don't want to just get into this usual jerk off sort of motion. It's overstimulating. Just make it more of a massage, touch these erogenous areas of your body, breathe deeply and relax, and just see if you can sustain these deep states of presence and subtle orgasm. So this is a great practice to try. Again, it's going to completely change your dynamic of sexual experience. Now, I'm not saying that this is the only way that you should experience sex. The more traditional sort of friction-driven sort of sport sex, we could say, it has a lot of benefits as well. It's enjoyable as well, but it's when you get stuck in one certain experience of sexuality that, you kind of get in a rut. So this is just a way to change things up. It could be a much different dynamic. So I encourage you to experiment with it and try it. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment below. Did you try this practice and what did you notice when you were doing it? I'd love to hear. Have a great day, my friends.